Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Where does one start today or tonight? Wherever you may be in the world. I felt last night when I was reading that I've actually been quite unsettled for a few days now. And I might add, just as unsettled about what's happening in Venezuela, which is why I did that reading, as well as the reading on Trump and Mueller last night. But I have felt that something's been brewing for quite some time now, more urgently in the last couple of days. Now, having said that, we know Roger Stone was indicted, although the matters of collusion aren't visible yet. There's probably more on file there for Roger Stone, more indictments relating to that Trump Tower meeting. So this was a strategic bringing forward by Robert Mueller. Separately to that, the air traffic controllers and airport security staff, that I think it is the TSA, that basically threatened to go out on strike, and Trump has backed down and opened the government. He said he may shut it down in another 3 weeks if he doesn't get his border wall, but then he mentions moving to his declaring a national emergency in 3 weeks. So he really is all over the place on this at the moment. So I won't read on the government shutdown anymore until we get further toward that 3 week period, because I think what are the most pressing issues at the moment, I feel, are around Trump and Mueller. Now, as we all saw the FBI raid, man, was that was a sight to behold. I got the impression there that this was a show of force in relation to show and demonstrate something to Donald Trump as well. Did it need however many security FBI people tramping through Roger Stone's front lawn to say, this is the FBI? Probably not, but who knows? Who knows what Mueller knows that we don't know? I have felt that that things are quite critical, that we won't know until after this is all over just how critical they were. With this, I guess it's the spectre of Vladimir Putin, always there, hovering in the background, and Russia, and also the networks. As I say, the reason that Venezuela is so worrying for me is because China and Russia and Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Syria have come out and said to the US, do not interfere in Venezuela. Now, this is an alliance, a public alliance here that is worrying for anyone, I think, in the Western world. So I think we need to keep our eye on Venezuela as well. But as I said, let's just go to, I'm being taken to Venezuela and Russia. Every time I mention Russia, I go to Venezuela. But let's have a look at Mueller. Let's have a look at Robert Mueller, because I feel that there are indictments to come forward for Kushner and obviously Don Jr. and more indictments for Roger Stone. So let's get on with this now this morning. Will indictments for Jared Kushner come forward? That's our first question. Let me just tune into Kushner's energy. Will indictments for Jared Kushner come forward? Will Mueller bring these indictments for an indictment for Kushner? Will this indictment come forward? Jared Kushner. Oops. Let's just put those back. Will these indictments come forward for Jared Kushner? Mueller, Kushner. Okay, so straight away we've got, the partnership card here, the Two of Cups. Now this is really around who Kushner may have been collaborating with. And if we're talking about the Trump Tower, the WikiLeaks, we're looking at Russia here. I think Kushner is more exposed than Don Jr. in relation to Russia. That's because he has met a number of times and because he has his own business interests himself. There is going to be loss for Jared Kushner, and I see him walking away from DC. There are matters now coming into the public domain around Kushner being granted a security clearance when he shouldn't have. This is in relation to the family wealth. This is, often times I get this in relation to the Trump organisation, but this is also Ivanka and Jared as well. We can see them here in this card. Those two are coming forward very, very strongly for me. I'm pulling all these cups. It's like what they thought they could get out of the presidency, and now what they've got out is this. Okay, so they thought they were going to have these partnerships that were going to yield monetary value to them, but instead they are faced with loss and walking away. We asked a Tower card. Okay, so we asked if Jared Kushner was going to be indicted soon or next. Not next, we asked soon. The Tower card would lead me to think that there is a ruination coming down on top of Jared's head, Kushner's head, in relation to the partnerships he has formed with Russia. Yeah, and we've got the isolation in peril. This is the peril that Kushner faces and potentially prison for Kushner. Walking away, where is he walking away to? Potentially it could be to prison. I don't want to go too far saying this. He might strike a deal. He could already be talking to Mueller. The indications are he might. But this is certainly isolation and restriction. So I think he's going to be leaving. At the very least, he's going to be leaving DC sometime soon. Will he be leaving handcuffed? That's another matter. Okay, so disappointment and divine discontent. The energy that I got from this reading to begin with was that Ivanka and Jared came to Washington thinking that they were going to yield great benefits for their dynasty, for the Kushner-Trump dynasty, and for their children and for their family and for their continued influence in the world. And in return, what they've got is this. So they've been greatly disappointed in their aims. So we have the key card. The major arcana here is the Tower, and we'll just draw, prying open the truth in relation to these partnerships that Kushner formed with Russia. So I'm looking here in this technique, and I'm seeing yes, there is something coming down the pike for Jared Kushner from Mueller, and potentially is going to be the fall of Jared Kushner. So that is coming. That is coming. Now, when I'd have to do a timeline. I felt that something big was on the horizon. We know that Mueller works through this web approach where he really gets those on the outer circle and then he moves in. There is some commentary that Mueller is actually going to try and break Stone, get him to flip, so that to fill in a piece of the missing puzzle. However, I feel that Mueller has all that he needs in relation to Kushner and that Tower, that Trump Tower meeting. I think this is a strategic, really, so that he's not tipping off. He likes to surprise, and I think this is what he will do with Kushner. Now, let's have a look at the Kushner indictment. Let's have a look at Don Jr. We've felt for some time that he's also going to be indicted. So will Donald Trump Jr., Don Jr., will Donald Trump Jr., I'm just tuning into his energy, will Donald Trump Jr. be indicted by Robert Mueller? And we know that it'll be around that Trump Tower meeting. Will Donald Jr. be indicted around the Trump Tower, for the Trump Tower meeting? Well, I won't even put that specification on it, because who knows what Mueller has on the Trump Foundation. So let's just ask, is Donald Trump Jr., Don Jr., facing an indictment from Mueller? So we've got the Donald Trump card. So by virtue of Donald Jr.'s association with Donald Trump and the Trump Foundation, that's the energy I'm reading from that card. We've got the Five of Cups here, which is coming forward as loss and regret and grief, feeling abandoned and feeling unloved as well. So has Don Jr. been abandoned by his father? There is an element of absolute overwhelming grief to this card. it's coming forward, the energy's coming forward here in relation to his father. It's almost as if he feels that he was, in some way, he was kind of, I won't say set up, but he rushed in blindly without really knowing what was at stake, and he did so on behalf of his father. He's still doing that. Now, I'm not saying I have sympathy for Don Jr., but I just feel that he is a different scenario from Kushner. Don Jr. was, there's an element of being naive here. And his father is coming forward again, hoping that his father will be able to protect him. His father's coming right into this reading, okay? So his father, it means that Trump Sr. is going to really be provoked if his son is indicted. Okay, so we've got this imprisonment feeling, the restriction here, the peril card for Don Jr., and it is in relation to his father, it is in relation to Trump Foundation, it is in relation to income sources, okay? So we thought about the Trump Tower, the WikiLeaks matter. There may be something further here in relation to Trump Foundation, money changing hands. Okay, and again, we've got some kind of monetary proposal coming forward here, and it could be an offer that was given to Don Jr. or, you know, he is now a CEO, isn't he, of Trump Organisation. If I make a slip of the tongue and call it foundation, it is just a slip of the tongue. We know the foundation's been wound up. I'm talking about Trump Organisation. This is what's coming through in this card, and also his father. He's done something on behalf of his father, and we know that the meeting at Trump Tower in relation to WikiLeaks is one possible scenario. We also know that the attempt to build a Trump Tower, the negotiations to build a Trump Tower in Russia is also another scenario. And we've also got potentially Mueller had Trump's chief financial officer talking to him as well. So there's something around the Trump Foundation here and money here that's showing. Let's just have another look. And that's Mueller himself coming forward. I'm not saying I'm seeing something coming forward here for Don Jr., but these cards aren't specifically saying he will be indicted, and it could be that we've got to wait for something there. Kushner seems to be more in peril than Don Jr. does. Just ask for clarity. He's got his father in this reading. His father's very, very prominent in this reading. Very prominent, and so is the Trump organisation. But there's loss here for him, and there's loss on behalf of Mueller, and there's something around money changing hands, accepting a monetary proposal. Can we have some clarity, please, Spirit, on whether Don Jr. is facing an indictment? He may be brought in the King of Cups here, so this is really about the recovery from Trump. There's also some kind of the King of Cups is not the energy of the King of Swords. It's a lighter energy. It's more of a supportive energy. It may be that Don Jr. is brought in to collaborate. He might be brought in for questioning. I'm not seeing an indictment here at the moment for him. Yeah, but there's some sort of truth coming forward in relation to Donald Trump Jr. It could be we hear some information around the Trump Organisation or Trump himself. It's around money changing hands. It is loss for Don Jr. And it is in relation to the Mueller probe. Will he face a lesser charge? Or, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting, that Kushner's in more trouble in relation to Russian collusion than what Donald Jr. is in. I don't know if I'm correct on that one, but Kushner seems to be in immediate peril When I say immediate, he seems to be in a great deal of trouble. Okay, let's go to what's on Donald Trump's mind. He caved on the shutdown. We had air safety issues coming forward. The unions came forward and said, well, that's it. Our workers are calling in sick. There's danger, there's peril in the skies. It's only a matter of time before a tragedy occurs. I don't know why it took them so long. In Australia, we have I would say a strong union movement. If the government stopped paying government workers, the unions would simply call an all-out strike, and we would have the power of collective bargaining. It just wouldn't fly. The unions would strike from day one. But anyway, we've got the opening of the government, and that's a great positive. So let's have a look now. We've got the matters around Stone. We've got Mueller pretty much getting ready to act. I've always thought that he might go very quickly, although I am sensing we might go. Or it could be tomorrow. I will ask that question. But the way that Mueller works is as we know, he goes from the outside and then it just keeps going in that concentric circle until he reaches the target of his investigation, which is Donald Trump. Now, Trump knows this. His lawyers would be privy to all of this. Is Stone going to flip on him? What's happening with, what is going through Donald Trump's mind at this point in time? Donald Trump, what's going through his mind? I think he's a bit shell-shocked. I don't think he's well, and I think he's shell-shocked, and I think he in some way understands he's beaten, but he won't be like that for very long, because the way that he works is that he'll be thinking what else he can do. He'd also be communicating with his alliances to work out what his next steps might be. But just as much as he does that, so does Robert Mueller and the lawmakers in America. I think that the Department of Justice, the lawmakers, I think they know, the FBI, I think that they know a lot more than we can even suspect. So what's going through Trump's... I'm thinking he's isolated. What's going through Trump's mind? Okay, so we've got what can he do next? We've got what dirty tricks. This is the magician card. What can he do next to really get on top of the judgment that he's facing? Judgments are all about endings coming, so we see in all of this desperation, we see Donald Trump's ending, but he's not giving up. He's working out what he can do. Now, the Five of Wands will pay attention to these type of cards here, because this is really challenging things. This is rivalries. This is putting obstacles in the way, and I feel this is what Donald Trump is going to try and do to somehow deflect, stall. Now, we've got the Five of Pentacles in relation to the magician. He's going to try and shut down the government again in 3 weeks. Is that the desperate hand of the dirty trickster? We've got the Five of Pentacles. This is really around leaving people out, excluding people. This is, the financial vulnerability of the average citizen. So there is something that he's looking at doing, and I wouldn't discount shutting down the government again, even though he would be absolutely stupid to do it. I think at this point in time, we ask what's going through his mind. He's trying to work out how he can delay judgment on the Mueller probe, because this is waiting for results. And this is the card that the querent has the globe, the world in his hands. He is actually, I think, communicating with Putin. That's what I'm feeling in this reading, about what we can do, what they can do next. And this is around loans and debts. The Six of Pentacles always comes up in the Trump reading. This is around maybe I had the feeling that he was talking to Putin. Putin might also be putting the heavies on Trump as well. You said you were going to do this. There's something about blackmail in this card. The energy of this card is blackmail. What else is Trump going to do to hurt others? I mean, that, okay, so we've got rivalries, obstacles and challenges. He's going to challenge something. It could be he's going to continue to challenge the Democrats in the House. That could be, okay. So it could be he's going to try and stoke the fires of division so that you don't get a well-functioning government, even though it's opened. And look, he wants victory. This is the victory card. This is, exactly where what he wants. However, it's also the other element of this card is that he tried and failed. He tried to do this. He tried to affect people's finances. He really didn't care about the workers. And in one way, the workers have had this victory over him. So this reading could be saying these dirty tricks are not working. There is judgment coming down upon him because of his role in Russia. He is retreating. And the future. Yeah, okay. So there is some kind of secrets coming forward here around who he is indebted to. But the question we asked is what's going through his mind. So he could well be thinking about what he owes Russia. He could also be thinking of what he can do to sow more division, to create obstacles in the relation to Mueller. This card there's multi-focused here. This is what's going through his mind. It's a number of things. It's what can I do? It's what, this is the card also indicating treachery, but it's also indicating secrets. So, okay, right. There's a lot going through his mind at the moment, and there's a lot coming through these cards. So it's not just what's going through his mind. It's also thinking about the loss that he's had. He is very, upset is a mild word, about losing on the government shutdown. He feels that he should have been victorious. He wasn't. He's thinking about what else he can do now to deflect from the judgment that ultimately is facing him around Russia. This is showing that he's retreating for the present. Okay, so he's just a bit gobsmacked, if you like. He's just going to retreat for the moment and gather his thoughts. Now, what he's thinking about in the future is how he can throw these a spanner in the works, if you like, how he can create this deflection away from Mueller, how he can sow the seeds of discord. That's where he's thinking at the moment. But he's also at the same time thinking about what he owes Vladimir Putin. And it could be he's talking to Putin about that. One thing's for sure, in the future, and this is the very near future, we've got this happening. We've got Trump attempting to sow discord, and there is a treacherous aspect to this as well. At the same time, there are secrets around what he owes Russia potentially coming forward. We asked if Kushner and Don Jr. will be indicted. We didn't ask if Trump, if there's going to be. My feeling is Mueller would leave the biggest fish till last, which is Donald Trump. But we can ask, is in the near future, Spirit, let's just ask, in the near future, is Donald Trump going to be indicted? In the near future, is Donald Trump going to be indicted? My feeling is that would be done behind the closed doors. However, that's an assumption, so we'll ask the cards. Will Donald Trump be indicted by Robert Mueller? Trump indicted by Robert Mueller. It's that question, can a sitting president be indicted? And this is the Six of Cups. This is looking to the past, what happened in the past. I think that it would be a fairly big move for them to indict a sitting president. The Strength card coming forward. showing strength. Okay, showing strength, waiting it out and showing strength, and waiting for the right time for the truth to come forward. This is also the card of spying and covert operations, espionage as well. So it seems to me that they're still working on Donald Trump from that point of view. Like, they're not going to come in that I can see. This is self-government. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be left there for a little while yet. I don't think they're going to pounce. However, we've got the strength of Mueller coming forward here, and we've got knights coming forward. The soldier of truth. Okay, the strength of Mueller. And some kind of proposal. No, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think Trump's going to be indicted. I think that that they will stay with a more conservative approach. I don't think they're going to indict a sitting president. But what would happen is this would come forward behind the scenes, and a proposal would be put to Trump. Take this deal, or else we will indict you. We will arrest you. We will impeach you. Whatever the deal is. That it's more likely to unfold that way than the FBI coming in and dragging Donald Trump away in handcuffs. All right. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? I think that's probably it for the moment. I can ask about Ivanka. We know that that Kushner's facing potentially an indictment. We can ask to finish this reading off about Ivana Trump. Is Ivanka Trump facing an indictment from Mueller? Is Ivanka Trump facing an indictment from Mueller? Ivanka Trump, just tuning into her energy. Ivanka Trump facing an indictment from Mueller. Sword of truth is coming forward. There's certainly things that she must answer for. There's also illusions. So the illusions that were created around Ivanka Trump, I think that's been quite a deliberate thing on her part. And we've got retreat here after battle. We've also got new starts coming forward. These are similar cards to what I pulled for Ivanka Trump in the past. And it's almost like these are happier times and celebrations for her. Or potentially could be for us. This is the homecoming celebration card. This is what we were doing this morning or last night when we found out Mueller had arrested Roger Stone. And we've got Donald Trump coming forward here. It's more likely for Ivanka Trump. Actually, she may be facing something. I'm just looking at these. Let me just have another look here. She may be facing something. That's what these cards are saying. Is it an indictment like Kushner? It could be like she gets house arrest or something like that. She gets a more mild form of it because there is some kind of retreat indicated here. It's definitely showing that she's... that she could face something, but it's almost like she gets off in a way. Not gets off, I won't say that. She doesn't get off. But she's given a chance to, again, possibly flip on her father. I think that's what this is saying. She's retreating from her father, potentially cooperating with Mueller, because there are new starts for her, but not for Kushner. Okay, Kushner's played a much bigger role in all of this. Yeah, she's in trouble. She may get some kind of, lighter. She might get off more lightly than Kushner, because I am seeing that she has some kind of new start. But I am getting the feeling she's going to flip on her father. Okay, I'm going to leave that reading there. I hope all of that was helpful. I would just stop for a minute to acknowledge that that this is a channel that's coming through me, and I'm grateful for it. I would also acknowledge that I'm not right all the time, but I am right a lot of the time, and I'm very happy that I was right in relation to Mueller coming forward. I would also urge people to understand that, you know, cards aren't exact. They are a guide for reflection and you really to stimulate your own intuition. So it's almost like we're all connected here. We're all possibly thinking these same things. The cards are just expressing the collective conscious, or the universal consciousness. So thank you again for your support. I hope I am heartened by the comments that say that people feel calmer after these readings, and I'm pleased to that has been one aspect of these cards for people. And you know, fingers crossed this is a critical time. Fingers crossed Mueller's got it right, and Donald Trump will be stopped in his tracks, because I think it's quite clear now. The evidence is pretty much out there now that there was collusion, conspiracy with Russia, and that these are very dangerous, critical times we live in. But the most important thing that comes through in all my readings is the strength of the American Constitution, the strength of the law, and it'll be, if America wins, then so will the rest of the world, because I think all of us, given the alliances that Russia currently has with the superpower China, and I will go into that, but I haven't got time because we have our own problems with China in Australia. Saudi Arabia, Syria and Turkey, that hotbed there. You know, this is really critical for Western democracies in total. So our thoughts are with you. And what I'll close with saying, go Mueller, go Robert Mueller.